So mostly what they do is hold summits.
I think that right now the question is, do we all work for central bankers? That's what I want to address to our guest tonight. Is this global governance at last? Is it one world, the central bankers in charge? Jim Iorio, you say we've got some downside here, a correction in the markets. Fine. But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do? Aren't we all just counting on the fact that there's a Bernanke put and that we won't go any lower than, say, 5% down from here?
Well, of course we are, because if we look at the economic data, there's nothing to get excited about in that. So yesterday we saw some reluctance for the Bernanke Fed to expand their balance sheets and pump more money in. But the stock market knows that reluctance is totally different than not willing to do it at all. And that's why we saw oil implode and gold trade off heavily, because they're not a protected class. If the stock market starts trading off in the 10 to 15 to 20% area, the chairman's going to come in and throw some stimulus at it. So to answer your question, we are absolutely slaves to central banks, because we'd love to be slaves of the economy, but the economic numbers continue to do nothing but trend lower.
Mr. LeCamp, do we work for the central bankers?
We know that.
Mr. LeCamp,
we do. This is free. We do. Look, markets are driven by policy now. They're not driven by market forces. They're driven by fiscal cliffs. They're driven by central bank proclamations. They're driven by false rumors coming out of the ECB.
Fiat currency that's continually watered down. They continue to water our currency down so the markets go up and we feel good about it.
Yeah, and listen to what the Fed did this weekend. I think they really screwed up here. They said that we're going to do this Operation Twist through the end of the year. In other words, they're going to create uncertainty about what happens after Operation Twist, right at the same time that the fiscal cliff kicks in. Do we really want all that uncertainty?
Jim, but we have to give it back.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I am Matt Larson 10, and that video clip that you just got done watching was from CNBC. I have a feeling that that person will not be having a job with CNBC for very much longer, and if he is, he'll probably be demoted, just like what happened to Judge Napolitano. When you tell the truth too much, you lose your job. But there could be a little bit of a tactic behind this. I think that the cable companies are starting to wise up a little bit and realizing if you don't tell the truth, that you're not going to be gaining your viewership anymore. And I think that CNN is a prime example of what happened when you keep continuing the lies of the mainstream media. You lose 50% of your viewership in 1 month. So I think that this is a tactic by the actual news organizations to try to trick us into believing some lies with some truth. I'm amazed that they're talking about this, and I'm even more amazed that they did not mention Ron Paul's name once during any of those, discussions right there. But still, it's a step forward in the correct direction, at least, realizing that the central banks do own us, and there's nothing we can do about it unless we get rid of the Federal Reserve. So that's why we need to stand so strong behind Ron Paul and just continue fighting for him and not ever giving up, because that man is the person that will stand up for your freedom and fight for you and end the Fed. That is why we need Ron Paul as our next president of the United States. I ask that you guys thumbs up this video, share it with friends and family. The more people that actually see this and realize that the mainstream media is starting to admit that we are slaves to the central bank, I believe the faster our revolution will continue growing. So also, if you're new to my video and you just happen to stumble upon this one, click that subscribe button to stay up to date on all of the current Ron Paul news. As always, I'm Matt Larson 10. Go Ron Paul. Peace.